The deadliest canned foods exposed. 6 canned foods. Seniors should avoid at all costs. Have you ever noticed how, as we get older, the people we choose to spend time with seem to change? Maybe you've become a little more selective about who you invite into your circle, or perhaps you feel the need to step back from certain friendships. If this resonates with you, you're not alone. As we age, the people in our lives and the way we connect with them become more important than ever. But here's the truth. Choosing the right social circle as we get older isn't just a matter of preference. It's about safeguarding our health, well-being, and even our independence. And yet so many older adults struggle to understand why they suddenly feel the need to withdraw from certain relationships. In this video, we're going to uncover the real reasons why our social circles change as we age, and why it's crucial to be more intentional about who we surround ourselves with. We'll explore how certain relationships can either nourish us or drain our energy, and how making the right choices can have a profound impact on our quality of life. By the end, you'll have a deeper understanding of why the people you choose to keep close are more important than you might realize. Let's dive in and uncover why the need to be more selective is actually a sign of strength. Reason 1. The changing value of time. One of the most powerful shifts that happens as we age is how we view our time. In our younger years, we often feel like we have all the time in the world. We might say yes to every social event, gathering, and invitation because, in some ways, it feels like time is infinite. But as we grow older, we start to realize that our time becomes more precious. It's no longer just about having people around, it's about having the right people around. Take John, for example. He's a 72-year-old retiree who used to be the life of every gathering. He loved hosting dinner parties, going to community events, and catching up with old friends every weekend. But in the last few years, John noticed a shift in how he felt after these social occasions. Rather than feeling energized, he felt drained. He realized that his time was more valuable than he had once thought. He started carefully considering which events were worth his energy, which friendships were truly enriching, and which ones simply filled space in his calendar. John now prioritizes his time with his children and grandchildren, spending his days in activities that truly bring him joy and fulfillment. For him, stepping back wasn't about becoming antisocial. It was about recognizing that he could no longer afford to spend his limited time on relationships that didn't add value to his life. This shift in how we view our time is one of the most important changes we experience as we age. It's not about cutting people out of our lives, but about consciously choosing to spend our time with people who elevate us, people who nourish us emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. Reason 2, protecting your mental and emotional energy. As we age, we start to notice that our mental and emotional energy is not as boundless as it used to be. The ability to keep up with constant socializing, attending events, or dealing with negative, draining individuals becomes more difficult. Simply put, we learn to protect our energy. Take Betty, an 80-year-old woman who spent her younger years hosting large gatherings and attending parties. In her older age, she started to feel fatigued after just a few hours of socializing. At first, she thought it was just part of getting older, but over time, she realized that the real culprit was the negative energy she was absorbing from certain people. Betty had one friend, Alice, who was always complaining about everything: her health, her family, her finances, And yet Betty kept her around because they'd been friends for decades. But as Betty aged, she became more aware of how draining these types of interactions were. She realized that Alice's negativity was slowly wearing her down, leaving her feeling emotionally exhausted. Betty made the tough decision to limit her time with Alice, and instead she began spending more time with friends who uplifted her and shared her values. Betty's story is one that resonates with many older adults. As we age, we become more attuned to the emotional toll that negative, toxic relationships can have on our well-being. Protecting our mental and emotional health means letting go of relationships that no longer serve us or that continuously drain our energy. Reason 3. The desire for deeper connections. Another reason we begin to withdraw from certain social circles as we age is a natural shift in our desire for deeper, more meaningful connections. In our younger years, we might have been content with having a large social circle filled with acquaintances and casual friends. But as we age, we realize that quality always trumps quantity. Let's look at Margaret, a 78-year-old woman who had a wide network of friends. She was always invited to gatherings, and she attended many of them out of a sense of duty or habit. Over time, Margaret began to notice that despite being surrounded by people, she often felt lonely. The conversations were shallow, and she didn't feel deeply connected to anyone. She began asking herself, what's the point of all these friendships if they don't provide the kind of connection I crave? Margaret started distancing herself from the larger social events and began to focus on spending time with a small group of close friends who truly understood her. She found that these deeper connections, though fewer in number, brought far more joy and satisfaction than all the casual acquaintances she once kept up with. This desire for deeper, more meaningful relationships is something that naturally grows as we age. We realize that life is too short for superficial connections, and we seek out the people who truly understand us and enrich our lives. Reason 4. Letting go of toxic relationships. As we get older, we often have the courage to let go of toxic relationships that we may have tolerated in our younger years. The people who bring drama, stress, or negativity into our lives no longer feel worth the emotional investment. Take Jack, a 75-year-old man who had a friend named Tom, who was always demanding and critical. Tom would constantly guilt-trip Jack into doing things for him, making Jack feel responsible for his every need. For years, Jack tolerated this friendship because he felt obligated to help Tom. But as Jack grew older, he realized that this relationship was taking a toll on his well-being. Jack began to distance himself from Tom, recognizing that he no longer had the time or energy to invest in a friendship that drained him. He surrounded himself with people who brought joy, positivity, and balance into his life. Letting go of toxic relationships isn't easy, but as we age, we often become better at recognizing when someone isn't good for us. This ability to set boundaries is an essential part of protecting our peace and preserving our mental and emotional well-being. Reason 5. Avoiding drama and stress. Another key reason why older adults begin to pull back from certain social circles is the increasing desire to avoid unnecessary drama and stress. Life is already full of challenges, and as we age, we realize we have little patience for anything that disrupts our peace. Take Linda, a 70-year-old woman who had a large extended family. Every holiday she would host family gatherings, but over time these events began to feel more like a source of stress than joy. Between the bickering cousins, the passive-aggressive remarks, and the pressure to be the perfect host, Linda found herself dreading family events. She eventually decided to step back and host smaller, more intimate gatherings with people who didn't bring drama into her life. Linda found that by choosing her company more carefully, she could still enjoy her family without the added stress and anxiety. As we age, we begin to recognize that some people's energy is simply not worth the hassle. We learn to say no to situations that drain us, and instead we create more peaceful, drama-free environments for ourselves. This shift is empowering and enables us to prioritize our health and well-being over social obligations. Reason 6, the need for quiet reflection. Lastly, one of the most profound reasons why older adults withdraw from certain social circles is the increasing need for quiet reflection. As we age, we often feel the need to spend more time in solitude, reflecting on our lives, our choices, and the meaning of it all. Take Rose, an 82-year-old woman who spent most of her life taking care of others, her children, her husband, and her community. But as she entered her later years, she began to crave more solitude. She spent her afternoons sitting by the window, reading, or simply reflecting on the life she had lived. Rose found peace in these quiet moments where she didn't have to interact with anyone or answer to anyone. Solitude is not the same as loneliness. It's a chance to reconnect with oneself, to find clarity, and to nurture one's inner life. Many older adults experience a deep desire for solitude, not because they don't like people, but because they have lived enough life to appreciate the power of quiet moments. Choosing solitude doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world. It means making space for personal growth, reflection, and peace. And that, my friend, is one of the most beautiful aspects of aging. As we get older, the people we choose to surround ourselves with matter more than ever. It's not about how many friends we have, but about the depth of our connections, the quality of our relationships, and the energy we invest in them. Aging gives us the wisdom to choose our social circles carefully, to protect our time and energy, and to prioritize the relationships that truly nourish us. If you find yourself pulling back from certain people or situations, know that it's okay. It's a natural part of growing older, and it's a sign that you are learning to live life on your own terms. Choosing your social circle more carefully is not about becoming isolated. It's about becoming intentional. It's about choosing the people who bring joy, meaning, and peace into your life, and saying goodbye to those who drain your energy or bring unnecessary drama. By making these thoughtful decisions, you will be able to preserve your health, your happiness, and your sense of independence as you continue to age with strength, clarity, and purpose.